Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. I want to remind you all over social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, and of course our YouTube channel, The Stephen Knight Show. Please subscribe. Stop what you're doing right now and subscribe. Hit that button. All right, well, Pennsylvania town is under fire after one of their Halloween parade patrons decided to create a racist float disparaging VP Kamala Harris. According to CBS News, the racist float was on display at Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania during a Halloween parade hosted by the county's volunteer fire department. In the video from the parade, Trump supporters dressed as Secret Service agents were inside a utility vehicle decorated with American flags and Trump signs. One of the agents appeared to have a rifle mounted to the top of the vehicle, along with a person dressed as Harris chained up and walking behind the cart. The offensive float speaker outraged through the community, with many deeming the being vile and racist. The local chapter of the NAACP spoke out against the blatant display of racism. This is appalling. An appalling portrayal goes beyond the realm of Halloween satire and free expression. And I saw they were interviewing people that were there. They said this was for children, the parade. And a lot of people, they said this one man, he actually had a flag on his Trump flag on his float. He said this was disgusting regardless of what side of the party you're on. And they said, well, what about your flag? He said, well, I've always had my flag since 16. But, later on, he took it off by the time his float was supposed to go. I was disappointed. I interviewed this black guy there, and he said he didn't see it offensive. It was just a joke. But everyone else seemed very upset. They said they never vet the people that they asked to, to show up and be part of this parade. Linnea, when you saw this, and you could see when they were recording it, and there was a woman in the audience saying, I kept saying to the woman dressed as Kamala, I can't believe that you agreed to do this. This is disgusting. What are your thoughts when you saw that?
I'm not going to say what I want to say because you'd have to bleep every word. I'm not going to do it. I saw Shaq's face. Shaq's face was my face.
I was just about to ask, can y'all curse on here? Because
Yeah, ask that too. Can we curse?
Yeah. So let me wait a minute. Hold on, Linda. Hold on. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You got to get approvals when you do parades, right? You got to get approvals because permits need to be, received and all that good stuff. You got to get approvals for that kind. You're not going to sit here and tell me that wasn't approved. You didn't know what type of floats was going to be going through this parade. Because at the end of the day, you got to worry about how many people, how big the float, what's happening with it in regards to traffic and how it's going to maneuver throughout the parade. Correct me if I'm wrong. Mount Pleasant, y'all can kiss my whole entire ass.
Brittany, did you see it? What were your thoughts?
I didn't see it, but I'm not surprised. And that'd be the thing. So they're making a big deal about, Kamala getting Beyonce to perform and all these other people and doing all of this other, they're making a big deal about everything she do. But he gets on there and in his whole presidency, he was in the media. I have more trauma from him being on CNN saying, if you loot, we shoot. Telling people, doing all this crazy stuff when we was locked down, talking about drink bleach. I'm traumatized from watching CNN on repeat that I do not understand why now, what everything they're saying is with Kamala is the issue, or Kamala is the issue. So it pisses me off because it's they nitpick her, but his entire 4 years, he did not miss a photo opportunity. He did the garbage truck where he couldn't even open the door. Right. I'm just but his embracing causes these people to be absurd. I went to get my I'm gonna make this a quick story. I went to get my tire fixed. I had a nail in my tire and I needed to get it plugged. I went to this little spot over here by my house. It's actually for tractor trailers and trucks, but they said that they would do mine because it just need to be plugged. While I'm getting mine done, the white man walks out of his office and comes and asks me, did I vote? I said, yes, I did. He said, who did you vote for? I said, Kamala. He said, "Can I ask you why you voted for her?" And he proceeds to tell me why my vote is wrong, how he's been going around to his Black co-workers or employees, deterring them from voting from Kamala, and then try to tell me how Trump is the next coming of Jesus, because it's been prophesied that how he gonna win this election, and he is. The assassination 3 times was a part of the prophecy for him to be the president in the next coming of Jesus. It's just like, I'm surprised by that float, because I have seen some absurd things from these white people.
No,
I,
it's definitely a cult. I'm sorry.
I just don't get why anything is of a shock. It's like they're gonna find a new low. So I don't. Nothing surprises me.
You know what surprised me? So after the racist rally they had in New York and Madison Square Garden last Sunday, where the comedian said that there's a pile of trash floating in the water called Puerto Rico. Joe Biden came out. He was on a Zoom call with Puerto Rican leaders, and he said that those comments were disgusting, and that that the Puerto Ricans he knows there's no trash. They're not trash. He said the only trash I know are his supporters. He later came back and said what I meant by that were the people that were spelling this rhetoric, not his supporters, everyday people. Well, of course, the Republicans took on to that. A lot of them were dressed up as trash for Halloween. They
are trash.
And so they're saying that how dare a president call half of Americans trash? And I'm thinking, do you hear what this man says every day?
Hypocrisy.
They are the most. Listen, I've said it once that this country has like a mentally, it's not. There's something wrong, and for those who and Trump does this thing where he riles them up and incites them. He speaks to their racist hearts. That's what I would like to say. He speaks to their racist hearts. He riles them up and incites them to go out here and, like your story, Brittany, that's crazy. Like, no, you don't need to know who I vote for. Why? What is it?
I had no problem telling him. And it pissed me off that he is finding less educated Black people to kind of outsmart them out their vote for Kamala. He said that he has an employee named Quan. And if Quan watches your podcast, I hope he sees this and still votes for Kamala. But how he told Quan, he asked Quan why he was voting for Kamala. And Quan said that the insurrection on January the 6th, if it had been Black people, we would be under the jail and never heard from again, right? Yep. I think dead, but let's just leave it at Quan's perception. He said, he told Quan, that's racist to think that Black people are treated differently. I said, the audacity of you, because by the definition of racism, we as a minority can't be racist. It's the oppression of a minority. Mm-hmm. And how dare you say that we're racist? We're pointing out racism by y'all.
Oh yeah, I had someone tell me that because I had posted something up. This was back when the whole Black jobs thing was, and I had reposted something that said my Black job is voting, and this white guy told me that was a racist post. I said, well, you know who said it? The person you're supporting.
They're very ignorant. Listen, there are a lot of ignorant Trump supporters who believe in these conspiracy theories, and I feel like his camp knows what they're doing.
They know exactly.
If you're able to rile up a cult, and this started, let's be real, this started in 2016 when and after Obama won, I felt like the Republican Party had two that were on edge about a Black man being president, and then you have the racists who just couldn't stand it. And then some of those Republicans were just like, hey, he's not that bad. But when Trump came off this and he said all those things, he riled them up. And ever since then, it's just been an ongoing riled up of this, hey, this is white supremacy. This is what it is. You in white male, not just white women, but white male supremacy. And of course they follow. So it's just like everything he does, he speaks to that. He riles them up and he makes them feel like they can just get out here and do anything and they're above the law. So it's maddening. And they don't have when I say no sense, you can't argue.
No.
At all. You tell me that his assassination attempts was a part of a prophecy. If anything, that was by your own people.
Right. There were Republicans that did that.
What?
Rebuke them.
But
so wait, so I want to add in on that. So the whole thing about the I guess Halloween parade or whatever.
Yeah.
What they did was the equivalent of dragging a black woman down the street.
Yeah. Like they want to lynch.
Yep.
Symbolism.
So if I did that float and there was a black man being drugged behind like a tractor or something, and I called it art or I called it a protest, do you know how quickly the weight of everything would come down on me?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mimicked a hate crime.
Mm-hmm.
So you mean to tell me these people can mimic a hate crime and it's okay in the name of Halloween?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
They said there's nothing they can do, but they were investigating.
Isn't that almost like the purge? You know, you got a window that you can do anything you want to do, and we're not going to do anything.
Remember, he suggested Trump.
But he did. He
Yeah,
said
he is bringing.
He said something about doing a purge.
Yes.
He said something about doing a purge. But to add on to that, and I don't know if you guys seen it. There was also a picture from Halloween of 3 kids.
Oh, I saw
the one little white boy was Trump, and then they put a white boy in blackface as a black man, and then they had the little white girl as Kamala, and they had the black man and Kamala in chains with the little white Trump holding the chain.
I saw that.
So the comedian Kathy Griffin got her whole life shut down. Whole life. Because she took an artistic photo that she thought was funny because she's a comedian. And her whole life rearranged.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
they're talking about the possible secret vote, which will be white Republican women. So the Harris campaign came out with this commercial because they're trying to attract those voters, the Nikki Haley voters. And what in the commercial, it's a husband and wife. They're going to vote, and they seemingly are Trump supporters. And Julia Roberts is narrating the commercial, saying that your voice is secret. You don't really have to tell your husband who you vote for. And so the woman walks. Her husband says to her, "Okay, go make the right choice." And they go off to their ballots or their sections, and she looks at another woman and she winks at her, and they vote for Kamala. And then when they leave, her husband said, "Did you make the right choice?" She said, "I sure did." And then Julia Roberts just reiterates how it's secret. You don't have to tell your husband who you voted for. When I tell you the Republican Party, their pundits went off. They are causing division in families. The guy Jesse on Fox News said if he found out his wife voted for Kamala, it'd be equivalent to an affair. And I mean, no one's gonna know who you vote for. Did
y'all see the male version of that? Did you see the male version?
Yes. Yeah,
that was the male version, right? Just all the men.
But was it towards voting for Trump?
Well, so you would think it's from the Harris campaign, and it's the men, and they're like, "Yeah, let's make America great again." And the one guy, he's actually he's the Trump person. He's walking in with his buddies, and they're like, "Yeah, let's make America great." And they do what the other 2 guys do what Steven just said the women did.
Yeah.
They look at each other and they're like, and then the little girl runs over to her dad, "Daddy."
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, "Yup, we voted." And the guy was like, "Did you make America great?" He picked up his daughter and said, "I sure did."
Yeah. So one of the things that they did cute on Saturday Night Live, they had a scene. There was a skit that when Maya Rudolph and Kamala were together, they did this skit, and they brought this subject up, but in a very, very cute way. And they asked the question to Kamala, Maya Rudolph, what do you think is going to happen with the vote of the female who doesn't want her husband to vote? And she was like, "Oh, I just have one thing to say to them." And she looked at him, she was like, "Girl." Girl. And Doug said, "What does that mean, Kamala?" She said, "Girl." So that was their way of handling the fact that what I've noticed in being out in the street, these women have uterus. There's other things going on besides the control of inside the household. She's losing control of her body.
And this is the first election after the Dobbs decision. And, every other election that thought they're going to have the red wave never happened. So many people have been voting because reproductive rights are important. But this is our last story about politics before we talk about Quincy. So Trump claimed during his rally that President Biden likes him more than Harris and attacked former First Lady Michelle Obama for criticizing him on the campaign trail. Michelle hit me the other day. I was so nice to her out of respect. I was so nice. She hit me the other day, Trump told the crowd at his rally in Raleigh. I was going to say to my people, I'm sorry, am I allowed to hit her now? Take it easy, sir, they said. The former president said that his advisors told him to relax because he's winning the election, but he asked the ladies of North Carolina whether he should take their advice. Hit back or just relax, he asked the crowd. I love to hit back, but we'd hold off a little while. The comments came after Trump said during the campaign rally in Pennsylvania on Sunday, said, I think we're going to start having a little fun with Michelle. The former president said the former first lady who has been campaigning for Harris came at me the other day. He also has come after Liz Cheney, mentioned her being lined up with 7 guns aimed at her face. They said that he has a hard time with women, especially Black women. Brittany, what do you think about these childish, and every time he makes these comments, his crowd goes crazy. What are your thoughts about these childish remarks from a person who wants to be president?
I mean, I don't know what else to say. I don't know. I just think that for me, it's expected at this point. Like, I'm not even surprised anymore. Like, even when he talks, we know he's gonna say something. I mean, not to go off subject, but I saw something on Instagram where it was like a meme where I heard it was edited, but it looked like he was giving fellatio on the podium. Did y'all see that?
Yeah, after he...
Did he really do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was complaining that the mic wasn't working.
Okay. So he gave head on the podium at a convention. Hey, we surprised about what's coming out his mouth? Like, at this point, I'm confused. It don't nothing surprise me. I'm ready for this to be over. Like, on to the next. LeVon Ball said he's leaving if Kamala gets elected or put in the office. I kind of want to do that if Trump get put in because I don't know what to expect. It's gonna be some real bullshit.
They said LeVon don't even have a passport.
First of all, he can't go nowhere because he owes child support. So sit your ass down somewhere.
Right. People like, bye. Don't wait till she gets elected. Bye.
This I've always had this theory on a more of a complex thinking that, not only is Kamala is a Black woman, she's a Black strong woman. And they have this thing, and it's not, like Brittany said, I'm not surprised about what Trump says, right? But the people who follow him, and especially in that, not of his cult, it's us, right? It's those voters who still want to express why they're voting for Trump. Kamala is a strong Black woman, and more than if she gets into office, we have even more work to do to protect her. Absolutely. Because we've seen what they've done to Michelle, right? And for me, I feel like you still don't now that that confidence you have and you put her in office, we have to make sure that when she's in office that we're not making a mule of her. And I feel like that's my scary part. Like after all of this has happened, is we still have work to do around that, because if she gets in, great, but she has so much work to do, to build up the confidence of people who were, just voted for her just because they didn't like Trump. She's still a Black woman. And we know Black women, what that encompass, right? And as a Black man with a Black mother, I know what those things are. You're talking about people, women who just seemingly be too strong, feel like people have to be harder on them, ask them the harder questions. Even in hospitals, Black women go to the hospitals. They feel like we just can endure them. I mean, you guys, ladies can endure the most pain. So I just feel this fear of when she gets in the office, that because she's scene is strong, right? Everything she do is heightened. You know, more is expected out of her than is expected from Trump.
Yeah.
So it's just, I'm that bothers me a lot because I want to protect Black women. And this is a historic moment for her. We should be celebrating instead of being, and we will. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, you know, I want to make sure that she's protected, and not just from physical harm, but we all seen, you know, they call Michelle a monkey. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to see any of that, and I feel like we still have a lot more work to do, you know, when she's a president.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well said. Well said. Well, born March 14th, 1933 in Chicago, he dropped some unforgettable hits over the decades, shaping the sound of pop, jazz, and R&B like no other. One of his biggest claims to fame is producing Michael Jackson's iconic albums Off the Wall, Thriller, and Bad, which not only revolutionized pop music, but also racked up mind-blowing number of Grammy Awards. He's had an ear for talent and has worked with star-studded lineup, including legends like Aretha Franklin and Stevie Wonder, making him a true architect in modern music. We're talking about Quincy Jones, who passed away at 91. You know, he worked with Frank Sinatra, Ray Charles, and his legacy. I mean, I'll ask you, Lanier, you're a music lover. What are your thoughts when you heard about his passing?
I mean, you know, it's always hard, but he is one of those people who created a lot of the soundtracks for our lives. For those of us of a certain age. Let me say that part. For those of us of a certain age, we have an extensive musical catalog that man is responsible for. Amazing artists that have been a part of our lives, and we got to see their journeys and their growth. And that music is timeless. I don't know about this nonsense today, but that music is timeless.
Yeah.
And in and of itself, where we can always go back to a time and nostalgia would just set in and you can just smile, because a lot of the music that you're going to play, that man had his hands in it. So I am grateful and I'm appreciative. And Chike, no, listen, I love me some Michael Jackson. So for me, I thank you. Thank
you. Chike?
Quincy Jones was everything, man. Quincy Jones, like from the movie scores to him producing other artists' projects, for him being a maestro and a composer. Like, people don't give him credit for all of that. You know, he could lead an orchestra. Quincy Jones was everything. He is the musical father to modern day music. Yeah. That's who he is.
And Brittany, I was watching Whoopi Goldberg. She said today that was a friend of a friend. I'm like a friend, like a friend's friend. She said that he's the one that told her when everyone would leave her or, you know, turn their back on her. He never did. And he always said, stay true in who you are. And she said she can because of, you know, his support. You know, he did the soundtrack or the music, the score for Color Purple. What are your thoughts on his legacy in music?
So two things. Number one, I think it's a beautiful thing when, like, I think he died at like 91, 92.
91.
It's a beautiful thing for a person to have that amount of time on this earth. So like, it's almost like sad when they pass and they're like my age in their 30s or younger than me. But when you can live to be 91 or 92 years old and see like a few generations go by, I think that's so beautiful and says a lot about their happiness. And then number two, okay, so who is Maya Angelou's mom that was a singer? And she made that
Maya Randolph.
And she made a song for Maya
Minnie
Angelou.
Riperton.
That Minnie Riperton made this song for Maya Angelou on the birthday by her daughter. And it's a classic song, and it's a beautiful song. I cannot remember the name of it, but
Loving You.
Yep, that. Somebody tried to remix it and turn it into a rap song, and I went through them comments on the Shade Room about. And I was so proud to see everybody coming to Minnie Riperton's defense, saying, leave the classics alone. Stop turning something so beautiful about a mother to her child into shake your ass songs. And I was just very proud of this new generation for saying we're gonna have to start leaving classics alone and work and doing something different about sampling some of these classics. And I completely agree. Like the timeless music should remain timeless because y'all will degrade something in a heartbeat.
They sure will. Shaq, let you have the last word on Q.
I mean, even if you just researched, his name pops up everywhere. Like, and it's like Brittany said, to live 91 and then to be in the industry as well. You know, that's a true blessing.
70 years.
Like it was covered, you know, with what we know about the industry. I mean, it's just there's nothing a lot you can say with a man that great. I mean, may his legacy will just continue. What's so ironic though, I'm not sure if you guys have watched it on Netflix, The Greatest Night in Pop. It's on Netflix. So it talks about how
We Are the World
came together.
I saw that, yeah.
I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
You know, how everyone was like nervous to be around each other because there was so many stars in the room.
Yeah.
And you're talking about Stevie Wonder and just like
Michael Jackson.
So many people, Michael, everybody, and there was a time where there was no social media, you know, they had to get on the phone, call these people. So that was like a organic, just coming together. And I don't know, I just found it very interesting to watch the celebrity, like big names like that, be nervous of meeting people, how they kind of, you know, go back and forth about how to do certain things, which is very funny. And he was there, you know, Quincy was there and you know, was behind all of that as well. So it's just like, yeah, musical titan.
Absolutely.
Can I tell a quick Quincy something? So there was an interview that I saw with him. You might have saw it. Some of you might have seen it. And he's talking about, they're asking about different artists, and he got to Michael Jackson. And he was saying, oh man, he was so difficult. He said, he's a genius. And you know, when you work with genius, they can be difficult. And he said, when they were making Off the Wall, he said it was like a contentious moment between him and Michael. And Michael was like, I don't like the noise that's on this song. Can you please remove this noise on the song? He was like, what noise are you talking about? And he was talking about Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. And when Quincy said, you want to take my out, he was like, that makes the whole song. He said, absolutely not. We're not taking it out. That is his genius. Just something that small and minute. He knew that it was going to be a hit.
He was right. He was definitely right.
I love that song. I ain't gonna
lie. Listen, make sure that you check out season 1 now. Let's Be Clear, the podcast. And season 2 will be out soon. Shaq, again, where can they check out Let's Be Clear?
It's at official LBC podcast on Instagram, YouTube, on Twitter and X. So, but you can listen to it on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, and then you can see a visual of our faces on YouTube.
Well, thanks again for joining us tonight, ladies. As always, y'all have a great week. Everyone, please vote. Check out, see your movie reviews right after this. Right back after this.